Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
After a wonderful football win, I am doing very well. How about yourself, Ozzy?
You know, following that 49ers and Seahawks game, which the first half was like kind of crazy, but that second half really course corrected. But sorry, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the NFL playoffs, and just had to comment real quick on the. Sorry if you're a Chargers fan, but the Los Angeles Chargers were up 27-0. Todd, I know you don't watch football, but like you understand, like if a team is up 27-0,
yes.
You're like, wow, okay, so they won, right? You know what the final score was, Todd? So
What?
It was 27-0 at one point. The Chargers lost 31-30.
Wow.
They were outscored 31-3.
Did like the team go and strike halfway through and they called the bums outside of the floor?
This is why I love sports, is because there's crazy, unbelievable things that happen. The quarterbacks for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, threw 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions in the first quarter. He had thrown 8 interceptions in the last like 9-10 weeks or something like that. And he threw 4 in the first quarter, and the Chargers started celebrating and all this stuff. And, you know, they got up 27-0. And then all of a sudden, little by little. So it was just, it was a fun day of football, to say the least. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But Flesh Wound producer Todd, I know you don't watch football. I apologize. How are you doing today? You're sick. I'm sorry. I don't know why I asked. It's like habit.
I don't know.
You always look like that, or like?
No, I'm just noticing your name looks a little shorter. Your room looks a little less shiny.
Okay, let me explain this real quick before we get into this film. I'm gonna get you Sucka. Just to explain things real quick, I've had a trophy here the past year that was labeled 272 champion. Now, things have happened in the season, and while there has not been a final decided, there have only been 2 games that have been played in this one-off championship between me and my opponent. So technically, this final championship is still underway. I had Trevor Lawrence as my quarterback that I drafted. So when those first 4 interceptions hit, I already planned my day tomorrow of food. Like I was gonna like get a giant breakfast, and then like for dinner I was gonna have a giant pizza, right? Like, and then just a river of tears to cover it all. But then stuff started coming back, but I still had that thought with the 4 interceptions. Maybe I shouldn't have the trophy on the show and jinx myself, because this is going to come out tomorrow at 9 p.m. and we're recording this Saturday night at 9 p.m. So I don't want to push my luck.
But by the fact of you not having it here, couldn't that just be predicting the future week?
Don't.
This is just getting us used to the rest of
this
the time.
comes out after that's over, right? So it's like you're trying to say this is the future.
You know what?
Exactly.
I'm not going to let you take over this episode and take away from the film that we need to review and discuss. And that being, I'm going to get you Sucka, released on December 14th, 1988, rated R with a runtime of 88 minutes. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Yes, I do.
Let's take a look.
Never has a film moved so many and touched so deeply. United Artists is proud to present I Am Going to Get You, Sucker, a captivating story.
Yo, baby, hold it. That ain't it. It's I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Yes. And it's the story of the brothers fight. Yes. Against Mr. Big. Yes. Well.
Let's get that sucker.
Push. It's about action, bravery.
I'm a soldier, man. I've been trained for combat.
Romance.
12 inches.
And danger.
If y'all step on my bunion, I'll kill both of you.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Let's get that sucker.
It's the good guys against the bad guys.
Oh, how come their guns are so much bigger than ours?
It's a balance thing. I don't know.
Good girls against the bad guys.
You must got the devil in you.
And it's bad guys against the bad guys.
Now, you boys can leave either through the window or the stairs.
We gonna take the stairs. We'll take the stairs.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
You know what I mean, brother? Well, actually, I don't. You know, I didn't grow up around blacks. Now, I grew up in the suburbs. My dad was a lawyer, my mom was a doctor, and all my friends were white. Chump.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
No.
It's got passion, pumps, rhythm, and soul.
Preach, brother!
Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Don't say that.
I'm gonna get you, sucker. Even if you can't say it, you got to see it.
I got you, sucker.
And that was the trailer for I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. Sorry, I just needed to verify something real quick. In the trailer, you saw a little girl scream, "Preach, brother." That actress was Ariana Richards, who played the
girl in Jurassic Park.
Thank you. I just forgot to write that down, so I needed to say that before we moved on. But yes, that was the trailer for I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. Again, released on December 14th, 1988, with a runtime of 88 minutes. Rated R, written and directed by Keenen Ivory Wayans, starring Keenen Ivory Wayans himself, Bernie Casey, Anthony Fargas, as well as Damon Wayans, his brother. He also had a ton of cameos here. John Witherspoon being one as a reverend, which is hilarious. Initial thoughts on this. I'd always seen the commercials for it on KTLA. Like, it seemed to be on once every 2 months. But at the same time, it's like I knew it was rated R, so I thought to myself, the funny parts aren't probably going to be in the movie. That was my thinking as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
However, seeing it this first time around, I think I wish I would have given it a shot at least, because I think it would have been entertaining at that age.
I think even with the TV version, I think you would have been fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg?
I was really glad that's where it went, because for a second I thought you were gonna say I should have given a shot before, because all the funny parts were cut out of this movie. I'm glad that's not where it went, because this was fun. I love the Wayans brothers. Like it took a moment to kind of focus, because I didn't really know much about this movie, and it's definitely like intentionally bad at points, you know, like and when you don't know that at first, there's moments where you're like, oof, is this gonna be how it goes? And then, like, you know, there's a backflip or two you see and you're like, okay, all right, let me reframe. And so without going into this with a lot of knowledge of the movie, didn't know what to expect, but it really did turn out to be a lot of fun.
Todd?
And it's more than just that, because I mean, not even that. It's also just like, because it came out as a parody of blaxploitation films.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if you don't have a full, like a big knowledge of that, so it doesn't like click a lot either. Like, I was a mild fan of blaxploitation at the time, but this really jumped off, like me deep diving into some of the smaller stuff, like Chuck Turner. But yeah, this one just from the trailers looked hilarious. Went and saw it opening day, 1988. You said, Ozzy?
December 14th, 1988.
Well, there you go. Long time ago.
21st birthday or
12? I think it would have been 12. Had to do math.
Tons of funny moments here. I had a hard time. So I had got a bit of a sore neck, and I was constantly on my wall with the lacrosse ball, just massaging this ball, and I had to keep dropping it to write stuff down or going back to see some stuff. But I didn't want to take the first stab at this. Todd, how about you? We'll go with your favorite moment here.
The favorite moment I could say? I'll go with it. My bitch My bitch better have my money poem still gets me every time. That's the in between what I can pick.
Greg?
Man, there's so many great moments in this film. I've got to, you know, I'm just gonna go with the one that like caught me off guard and got me the most. There's a moment where there's a guy who gets killed and then is used as a shield, and then when he's dropped to the ground, like that's funny alone. But then like when he gets dropped to the ground, there's a point they step on him and he farts, and just because I wasn't expecting it, like I laughed way too hard for that moment.
Absolutely. One thing I loved about it is that there was a few repeated gags, and my favorite was the stare gag. And it was so, it wasn't like, because sometimes you'll see something used 3 times the same way, but this was perfect where you saw it 2 times the same way. The 3rd time it was from a different angle, and then the 4th time was a different payoff completely. And it just usually at the 3rd time a joke is dead, but they found a way to make it still kind of good and ongoing. And each time it happened, the 2nd time, the 3rd time, and the 4th time, I laughed harder each time it happened.
I wonder if they shot more and like kind of cut them down till they got the right number.
It's entirely possible. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, another note is there's a lounge scene, or where rather you see a lounge singer singing a rendition of When the Saints Go Marching in the style of jazz. And when asked who the singer is, they say she's the owner's sister. The singer is actually Kim Wayans, which is Keenen Ivory Wayans' sister. So
there you go.
that's another great gag. But there were some times. Now, what's really tough is watching this after watching Black Dynamite, because they're in the same range of parodying the same kind of genre.
Yes.
But each had its different story. Rather, the Black Dynamite was more of the like Shaft, similar sex kind of magnet, right? While Keenen Ivory Wayans was more the goofy kind of character that fit more for that era and that could get by in theaters. Because I believe Black Dynamite went straight to Netflix.
The feature? No, that was
in theaters.
It was an independent. It wasn't like hitting like every theater, but no,
right.
No, that was that was DVD, Blu-ray. That would have been way before straight to Netflix.
Okay, right. What I guess my point being is that this was a MGM UA release.
Oh yeah, this was a wider release. Back then, a wide release though could be 600 theaters, and I don't know the screen count on it, but
I guess
definitely more than the other one.
I guess my point being is that this film could have reached a wider audience, age-wise. I mean, there was like minimal nudity compared to Black Dynamite, which was like sex humor was like half, if not all, the movie.
Yeah,
right, right.
And this was just different type of parody of that genre. Although the line when Slade comes in and the mother says, "Oh, I need you," and he says, "I've been horny too," that's a great line, but it wasn't as, I guess, to the amount of Black Dynamite.
There is one other line that I do want to throw out there that made me laugh a lot more, that I've never like just caught and like, oh yeah, no shit. I want to say it's Jim Brown says to Keenen Ivory Wayans, what makes you think you could be an action hero? Is I'm an ex-football player, and
he backs off.
Just all right.
Yeah, I actually have that written down right here. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned the Black Dynamite because like there's a line that's in here that I really enjoyed that would be perfect for either movie. There's in one of the action scenes, I think it was Slade who's like chasing one of the guys up to the rooftop, and the guy on the rooftop's like, "I counted 20 shots and you never reloaded." And his response was, "That's right." And that's it.
He's that good. I think I feel like we need to bring up Chris Rock's cameo too.
That cameo, the cameo and the gag that he had was great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I bet you just poured in my hand for a time. So getting into the ratings, I had a really fun time with it, and this is something that I'm probably going to watch multiple times in the future. Talking about it alone bumps the rating up for me to a 5, just because I had so much fun with it, and you had the action element too at the end, which satisfied a certain aspect, and it's also just under 90 minutes, so you're not losing too much time there. So I always appreciate that in a film. So it's a 5 for me.
Yeah, this was a tough one. Just curious, because sometimes we watch multiple movies around the same time. Did you watch this or Borat first?
I watched this first.
Okay, yeah. See, I had watched Borat, which we'll be talking about soon, and the pacing of a newer movie, even though Borat was 2006, something like that.
Yes.
The pacing of that movie just felt so much quicker, and you're getting a lot hit at you at once. And so going to this movie afterwards was it just felt it dragged a little bit. I think if I watched it independently, it would have definitely still kept a great pacing. I still really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, especially once I realized what kind of movie it was. So I'm still gonna give it a 4. I really did have a good time, but it didn't. It did have moments where it was a little slow for me.
I completely get that as well. And watching Borat immediately after watching this made Borat seem very fresh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of was in
That's hard to do too, but we'll save that.
It's I guess for me, whenever I watch a movie of the time, I kind of have to not grade it on, I guess in a way, grade it on a curve, whereas understand the time that it came out, right?
Think of someone doing that, watching a movie, thinking about the time it came out and using the context of the time.
Okay, not when it's really stupid, we're just supposed to assume.
I'm giving you props, Ozzy.
Okay,
just take
all
it.
Right.
I was talking
right.
it.
No,
I'm saying
no. We started off me getting attacked by oh, Ozzy, your name seems shorter this week, and you seem a little less shinier now. So I was a little defensive. I apologize. But at the same time, because I did think about it in the sense this is feeling kind of slow, but at the same time, a lot of movies at the time were more about setting up and then a payoff at the end. In this case, it had a similar action payoff at the end where you had the action happening, but at some points you had the lull just to get the story along, and they had the funny moments sprinkled out through in. Whereas the end, the climax, and it's probably what bumped it up for a 5 for me, is that you had the kind of action, but you had the stupid humor with the action, and meshing that always gets over with me.
Explains Die Hard. Since I never gave my rating.
I was about to throw to you.
Okay. You went on a 10-minute tirade in between, from his rating to mine.
That is ridiculous. It was more like 90 seconds. You could have heated up some rice and would have been done with it.
All right. Yeah, I'm a 4. I watch this one quite often, every few years. There is a Blu-ray, came out in 2016. Not a lot of extra features, a couple of retro making of features and B-roll stuff. No commentaries.
Okay. Now this is available on HBO Max, and if you want to check if it's available on another platform, you can head to justwatch.com, type it in for that information. Not a sponsor, but they can be.
I use them for everything. Fuck.
We have to have a sound effect now, if one of us accidentally drops an F-bomb, that
I know exactly what it needs to be.
And what would that be, Greg?
Todd,
better message it to me.
There's a wonderful video.
Hey, that's
Ozzy.
not that is not
Oh,
fair.
I didn't even hear what it was.
You have if it's not be dropped when somebody that forget it. Never mind. Forget I said anything. So that was I'm gonna get you Sucka, and I definitely recommend checking it out if you have not done so. Next week we're gonna be back with a new episode. As mentioned, it will be Borat, and more on that later. Anything else for you guys before we head out, rather?
no, it's just I'm sad to see that empty space behind you, Ozzy.
Oh, maybe in a couple weeks it won't be so empty. How about that? We'll see.
Maybe.
I
think
gotta
it's-
say, maybe.
You know
what, Todd?
It's nice you planned it out like the way Raw used to tape when they did the tapings or the old TV tapings. And like, well, we're already going to switch the title by then, so we can't tape it with then. So you're kind of using the same idea. So like for the next 2 tapings, you don't have a trophy, and then after that, there'll still be no trophy.
I just hope that if I mean there was a game where people were up 27-0 and still still won or still lost that game. So you have a chance at winning, Ozzy. But I do hope that if you get that championship and if you return that name onto your title bar there needs to be that asterisk. That's all I'm saying. You needs to be asterisks.
What asterisks?
Because had it ended at the regular season.
No, but
Just
see,
saying.
here's the thing. Our league decided that was not how our season was going to end. So our season has not yet ended officially. And when our season officially ends, one of us will officially be champion. No asterisks. Yeah.
Asterisks.
No, you're just being an ass.
Tricks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd. And I'm Ozzy V, and we'll be here next week again with a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.